Welcome back, Airbnb family, and to the podcast, the weekly podcast where we go behind the scenes, we peel back the curtains of what hosts are doing, and we give you a little insight of how hosts are starting, how they're scaling to their first property, how they're building, and ultimately getting to tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. Last few weeks, we've seen a lot of the mega hosts, hosts with hundreds, 300 listings, and more. So let's rewind it a little bit for those hosts, one of the biggest questions we get here is how do I start? How do I make sure that my listing is filled? What about Airbnb? What's going on with that? Well, today we have a very special guest here. We have Monique Cunningham, who just started just 6 months ago and has one of the best listings I've seen yet. So can't wait to crack this open. Monique, thanks for joining us on the show this week.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Super excited to hopefully share and inspire some people to just take a risk and just kind of just stick with their own unique identity. And hopefully I can just do that and share my story. So thank you so much for having me on.
It's not even just the success, it's how you did it and how you did it your own way. So in that theme of staying with your gut, what's interesting is that we had our call together back in July, and I think you said you're a little bit apprehensive. Is that right?
I mean, just like with anything, right? I mean, with the investment, you're thinking, okay, I've never ever spent this much money on myself. And if I did, doing something completely different, you don't know if it's going to work out. And I think it was just, uh, I was just scared. Oh, there's just like, you don't know what's going to happen. There's just the fear of not knowing. But to be here now is really crazy to even think about. So, yeah.
Well, it's crazy because I think everyone struggles with the fear with first starting off. So for you, if we're going to talk about fear, you had already had your property before you called us to join the program. So if the fear was already there, what made you just double down and go, you know what, I'm going all in on this venture? And why not just do it yourself?
Well, I think it was more of just I had a mentor for a very short period of time. And he's like, you have great credit score, just go ahead and do it. So I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and do it. And then you get into it and it's like, okay, whoa, whoa, whoa. There's a lot more than meets the eye. And it's not just about getting a property. You have to know pricing. You have to know how to get cleaners. I mean, there's so many details that matters. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it right, I need to figure out how or who I can go to get more advice from because there's only so much you can learn off of YouTube and from certain gurus, right? And not all the information that's on the internet is true. And just because they're successful doesn't mean it's going to be successful for me. Um, so I was like, okay, I came across Sean. And the reason why I went with Sean is because I need someone who's going to be direct. I don't need this is how you can make $10,000 this month. I needed someone who is going to be realistic. Don't sell me on BS, and let's try to figure out a game plan. Um, and so I just decided, you know what, I want to be able to do what is correct, and if I have to invest X amount of dollars right now, which may be a lot for some people, I know that I'm going to make that back tenfold. So I just decided to go all in, do it correctly, and literally was the best decision I could have ever made. So if anybody is just hesitant um, about investing, this amount of money into, I don't know if I should do it, just do it because there are little small things that I know if I didn't get from Sean or everybody else in the group, I know I really would have lost a lot more money or just lost a lot of money in general.
What are some of those little things?
Pricing, right? Pricing. I mean, it's very, I think people think, well, oh, that's easy. I'm just going to go and see what someone else is doing. I'm just going to price it according to them. And it's just not that simple. Because it's like if I go and compare my unit to somebody else's my unit's in a luxury high rise and I compare it to someone who, it's just like a bare minimum apartment, I can't really, so you can't really compare. The comparisons are different. Aside from pricing, I mean, I honestly think that that was the biggest difference because when it comes to decorative things, I mean, I'm not an interior designer, but I feel like I have a really keen eye for detail. Um, but as far as that goes, linens, because there's people who've damaged things in my property already. Of course, that's pretty standard. Um, he's like, you need to charge for everything and don't be nice about it. And I'm glad that I did that because over time you think, $20 here, $5 here, but it does add up. So that was something I was going to be very lenient on. And and the communication, that's hands down the biggest thing. I mean, being able to communicate or being taught to communicate during their stay has prevented probably every bad review that I could have ever gotten because they're like, yeah, this is great, but can you do this or can I do that? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, let's get it fixed. And having that extra communication and being very punctual when it comes to it makes a world of difference. And that's the biggest comments I get besides just, you know, how pretty it looks. The communication from me as well is just, I stay on top of it as much as I can.
Absolutely, absolutely. That speed to communication is one thing that hosts, it really changes their experience. Like you said, it's not just a pretty place. It's like they feel like you're there. They feel like they're being attended to. And does it make it shines in the reviews every single time.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Absolutely.
Now, before we actually show them your listing, do you mind if we get into the numbers? Because you are performing at a very great level.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Uh,
what if we talk about, say, the monthly revenue right now? I can't wait to show your listing just for the looks, but everyone's talking about Airbnb bust. You're booked out halfway into March right now.
telling you, literally happened within this last week. And that was because I got on a call um, with Josh.
Josh
And
Fletch.
I'm telling you, it made it literally from literally last week, probably 5 days ago to now, has changed the entire course of what I thought was going to be a disaster. Um, just to kind of jump into it, just literally 2 weeks ago, I was talking to my boyfriend. I was like, don't know what I'm going to do because I was lost. I mean, I'm new at this. I've never had this property anytime during the slow season. I'm like, okay, everyone's like, don't worry about it. It's a slow season for me too. And I'm like, unacceptable. I know there's a way past this and I'm not like everybody else. So what I'm doing something wrong. So I was like, and I just caught the tail end of the, I guess Josh was doing some, he was doing his weekly call last week. And I was like, Josh, something's off. I don't know what's happening. And he's like, what does your pricing look like? And I was like, it's this. So we went over it and he talked about the discounts. That has probably been the number one key to why I'm getting booked. Because during the slow season, I thought, you know what? I want to make at least $1,500 profit. I'm not making anything less. But at the end of the day, you do have to be realistic. It's like in a slow season, you either profit or you don't make anything.
Hmm.
And so we broke it down. He's like, what's the bare minimum you want for profit? I was like, $600. He's like, great. Then you need to take this and go into your pricing strategy and put that you want 655 per week, from now till February. So I made all the adjustments and I don't know what's happening. It just, I mean, all of a sudden I got someone who's like, yeah, I want to stay for a month, for like a month and a half. I got that booking and I've been waking up every morning with bookings after bookings, even on VRBO. And I mean, now from 2 weeks ago, I didn't have any bookings. And then now I just got another booking just a minute ago. So now that brings me to almost $1,000 in profit in the slowest month possible when everybody else is like, don't worry about it. I'm not going to profit either. Nonsense. So this has just been a world of difference. I cannot explain. I think it's just I don't know. I don't know. I pray a lot too, so I have to give all glory to God for sure. Um, but like even making small adjustments, even if you have faith, you still have to put in the work. And so just doing the small adjustments has been mind blowing for sure.
One of the greatest gifts we get working here and working with students like yourself is that mental shift, right? One of the
Yeah.
first mental shifts is when someone goes from, hey, I'm sick of trading my time for money. I'm going to build something for myself. And when they realize it's a reality, they jump in. The second biggest shift is what you just had talked about. And I really want to dig into this. Do you remember that fear of my calendar is blank and I don't know what to do? What was that fear like? And then what was the paradigm shift as a business owner now?
I mean, when like anybody who's doing this, I mean, whoever's watching that is fearful and you have no bookings, it just feels, I mean, you feel like you're you're just stuck. Like there's just no way out. You think, okay, like this is it, like I'm failing. And you don't, and you also feel so lost. And you just kind of feel like, I mean, and then you start losing motivation. You're like, you know what? Once this lease is up, I'm just going to give it away because I'm just going to let it go and just take all my stuff out. And because that was going through my mind. And, I was like, I don't, and then especially for people too who are, you feel like you're always starting things and you can never finish. So you don't want to let people down as well. And, you know, I mean, there could be people like that are out there too who may have family members or significant other who's like, see, I told you, I knew you couldn't do it. And you have people who are always rooting against you, but never rooting for you. And so that's also like a paralyzing feeling. Um, but this is why I pray continuously, because yes, even with all the work I was putting in, I was like, I still don't understand. And um, just the fact that I was able to do that, pray, and then get myself together to be like, you know what? Even if it's not working out right now, let me try to get past this barrier. And also thinking about people who are successful. I mean, I'm sure, you know, people like Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, they've gone through far worse than just having a slow season, right? They've probably lost millions of dollars. And who knows, I'm sure, but there's been lots of failures in the process of their success. So I just thought, you know what, if this is a barrier, then let me try to see what I can do to overcome it, because what I'm not going to do is give the opportunity for somebody maybe in my family or friends or whoever to be like, yep, I knew it wasn't going to work out. And just to kind of put that in the back of my head and be like, okay, I'm going to thrive through this. And I do thrive off the negativity and people kind of rooting against me. So um but I mean, like you said, it is a mindset shift. Are you just going to be like, okay, damn, that's it, it's not going to work out and it's just what it is? Or are you going to have kind of like a dog mentality to be like, okay, this isn't working, but something else will. So, and you also have to put your pride aside, to be like, I'm going to figure this out by myself. Well, you could try to figure it out by yourself, or you can use Sean, who's going to sit there and help you, and other people in the group who can sit there and help you. You don't have to go through this alone. Um, and just like anybody else who's been successful, nobody succeeds on their own. Everybody needs help. So I think it's just being vulnerable enough to say, okay, not working, but let me see who I can reach out to who can help me.
I love what you just said there, that you know what, there is so much you can figure out on your own, but there will come a point where you're going to go into shark infested waters and you don't have the tools to understand how to survive. And you could try to paddle water on your own and you could try to grind it out, or you could just simply jump on a call with a coach, someone who's already been there 100 times, taught thousands of people do it, and within one sitting, solve it. And all of a sudden, the clouds break, the sunshine's coming in, and you're back on cloud nine again.
That's right. That's exactly it.
There is something else we talk to a lot of hosts, and is that whether it's you or our past coaches like Josh or Monish or Michael Morrison over in Bogota, it's that no matter what you guys go through, there's always this type of belief, and everyone draws it from a different place. You have a really interesting place where you draw it from God, from prayer, but you have almost like a talisman. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, like as far as like my tenacity towards achieving things.
Well, it's actually something that you use as a tool, and I believe it's your prayer jar.
Aha, yes, my prayer jar.
What is
That's
that
my staple.
exactly, and how do you use it?
It's a staple that well, basically I use it for anybody who has a prayer. And there's like a little notepad behind there. And I also have a pen that's always in the unit as well. Any prayers that anybody has, they write them down and they put them in the jar. And I take it and then I pray for them. Of course, you know, only maybe a couple people have only used it out of, however many people I've had, which is fine. Um, but I'm a firm believer that money is, I mean, yes, Airbnb is great for the money, but that's not the only thing that drives me. So I think with me putting that, and I'm going to do it in every unit that's already set and plan, and in place. I'm already going to do that. But I have that just because it makes people feel cared for. I think that's just going above and beyond part of hospitality. So people are like, yeah, stay in my unit. Either you do or you don't. I don't care. But I do care. I care about everybody that comes in there. You don't know who's walking in with what. You don't know if someone's taking a break from an abusive relationship or, you just don't know. And I've had people stay in the unit. They wrote down their prayers and they're like, I feel so lost, without my father when he passed away. And so I came here to kind of get a break. So it's just, bringing that little touch makes people feel like, man, this just, no one, it makes you think like, dang, who would really think of something like that to put that in here, and also too, not to, well, I will brag. When you step into my unit, it smells really, really good. And it's just the ambiance of what I bring into that unit. I'm just like, every time someone steps in there, they should feel the presence of God. Every time someone steps in there, they should feel, cared for. And even if they don't have anybody in their life that's praying for them, I'll pray for them, whatever they need prayer for. So that's just what I came up with. I don't know.
It's so incredible that you're already thinking so far ahead in the experience. Yours even more so because you've tapped into the divinity, the ultimate beauty, and then you're bringing that into the unit. Do you mind if I show and share my screen and show everyone the unit right now?
Yeah, please, please.
Wonderful. Alberto, is there any way you can let me screen share? It's blocked me off here. So while he's getting that queued up, one of the things that really make your unit different is the details. It's not overly decorated, but it's just done perfectly. So I'm going to screen share right now, and I can't wait to show everybody this. So give me 1 second. So can you see my screen here, Monique?
I sure can.
Wonderful. So your company is called Sweet Living, and this is what we're talking about. First off, your choice of pictures, masterful. Because one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about is even though you have the professional photos, when you make the tile mosaic like here, it's hard to get these like perfectly centered so that they make sense on the mosaic. You've kind of just nailed everything perfectly. So again, when it comes to details, these are things that I find that are naturally, some things come naturally to some people that you may think is not a big deal, but some people it's left field. You've just nailed it here. So if you were to like say you're teaching your best friend how to decorate a place, what are some top tips you would give to beginners?
Absolutely. I go, well, personally, I think going for a more minimalistic approach. I mean, I think that's more of my kind of taste. But I always go for the motto less is more. So I love, and I think it's kind of, it's really a big thing. Honestly, you see people who have fallen in love with the neutrals and just modern approach. So I think it's hard to say like what I would recommend because there's different styles, right? But if I'm just going to go, if people love my style, I'm just going to go just give advice based off of what I feel like. I know that there's a lot of people who love to be outdoors and people love beauty. And so I literally got the inspiration from when I stepped outside. I thought, okay, I see a lot of browns. I see a lot of, beiges, creams, whites when you really look outside. And then, there's green from the trees. So I basically brought nature indoors. Okay. And then I decided that I wanted every room, no matter who stepped in, what room, that it's going to move cohesively and everything was going to work cohesively. So I just wanted to make sure that every single little element has a shade of white or cream with a hint of black. And I don't know, it's really, really hard to explain because, I'm not really an interior designer. Most people would be like, I can't tell, but I really am not. I just kind of find what I think works, just kind of put it together. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think I think the biggest tip that I would say is when it comes to little small details, like if you're trying to decorate, the kitchen, for instance, I would really make sure to pay attention to what type of dishes that you get. Don't just get any multicolored dishes from Walmart and just go throw them in there. To be really intentional about what you're placing, because that's the approach that I took. As you can tell, it's all neutral. I've got the creams, I've got the hint of black, but I decided also to know, even from the bottle of oil that you see over there, it's clear, but it has a gold top, so it may have hints of gold in there. But just to still keep it minimalistic. And also, too, when you look at the jar of coffee, people love organization. I will say that. Even if they're not organized, they love, love, love organization. So making something very aesthetically pleasing when it comes to organization was what I found really spoke to people. Um, and also the books are important. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just go on Amazon and, get something that works cohesively. So that would be kind of my tips. I know it's hard to kind of, walk through everything, but those are kind of like my tips that I have.
Well, I love what you've said because no one has ever said that yet, is that people love organization. And you're absolutely right. I'm not naturally organized, but when I walk into a place where everything has its rhyme and reason and a great way to access it, it naturally speaks to you and it naturally makes you calmer. That heck, someone's put thought into this. I know how to work this space almost.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
I want to ask you about this because the smell. You even have people reviewing saying the smell is in capital letters. So is that a trade seeker? Is that something that you'd like to share? How do I make my place smell amazing?
Oh my goodness. Okay, that is my top tip. If I'm going to say anything about a unit, there's nothing worse than walking into a unit and it smells like either leftover garbage or it smells like someone just made chicken Alfredo the night, from the night before.
Right.
Smell is important. I don't care what anybody says. And so but you have to be careful when it comes to the scents because they can be overbearing. So I don't mind even like if you go to and it has to be seasonal, right? So you have to set the tone when someone walks in. You don't want to walk in summer and you smell like and your house smells like vanilla pumpkin spice. It just doesn't make sense. So being as intentional as, okay, what season am I in? Let me choose the scent that's going to really captivate where they're at. So if it's dead in the summer, I may want to go to Target, or there's even Walmart. They have a scent called Girlfriend's Night or Girlfriend's Night Out, or Girls Night Out, something that's more citrusy
Hmm.
and or maybe like fresh linen, something like that. But even right now, I use the scent of vanilla pumpkin spice because it's still winter, you know, you're still the cold season, um, or something like that. So it just changes in the seasons, and like I said, everybody compliments it, um, even down to how the sheets and the throw blankets smell. The orange downy little, what are they called? The little pellets, the downy.
Smell beads you throw in the laundry.
Yes, orange, downy orange is like the number one scent that everyone just feels like, oh my God, this is the best scent ever. So I capitalize on that as well. So everything matters, especially when it comes to scent. You got to set the tone. As soon as they walk in, they're like, oh my gosh. Um, and even like essential oils, like the diffusers, best for the summer, hands down.
And I want to ask that because I've been searching for scents for a while now, but
Yeah.
that's why all Instagram does is bombard me with these aromatizers or scents. They're all like
Yes.
$500. And personally,
No.
I don't want to spend thousands of dollars to find my scent because their tagline is
Yeah.
smell like a hotel. Great tagline, crazy expensive. So how do I execute
Yes.
something like this? How are you diffusing these smells into the room?
Yes. So the best, cheapest advice, but still high quality, go to TJ Maxx. Every TJ Maxx you go into, no matter what season that you're in, they're always going to have a diffuser. You just have to go towards the back where the beauty supplies are, and they sell different diffusers. And of course, I always get one that matches the aesthetic of the home. So more of a neutral with bamboo on the bottom. So you get a diffuser that's maybe, don't spend any more than $24.99 max, right? And then the essential oils you can get from Amazon. You can buy them in a bulk. They come with lavender, orange, etc. Buy them in bulk, and that would be the cheapest option. And it's absolutely excellent, and also has been the best if you have a guest who breaks a house rule and smokes marijuana in the unit. The essential oils of lavender and lemon eliminate the odor.
Wow. We are getting
Yeah.
some pro tips over here today.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I've gone through it, and I'm like, nothing has helped. The essential oils help get rid of that smell.
Okay, got it, got
Yeah,
it. I love it. You've literally solved a problem that I've been on for over 2 years and haven't cracked. So thank you very much.
you're very welcome. Yes,
In terms of details, okay, so now we've seen there's design details, right? And
yes.
there's a smell. How else, what is else is in your philosophy where you know it matters? Those things that someone who may walk in might not notice it, but it's the overall aesthetic that you've carefully curated in terms of details. What else is in there that we haven't discovered yet?
Temperature of the room. I know it seems weird. People are very picky, and anytime that they can get a chance to even get a refund, they'll do it, or to
Hmm.
complain about something. So making sure that the unit is set at a comfortable temperature. And if they want it cold as baloney in the house, let them set it on their own. But I'm not going to just manually set the temperature of the room just to what I think is best. So I always set it on, 71, 72, and if or 70 sometimes. And if they want to change it, they can. So that's been important. Um, but another big thing that I know Sean's like, I would never do this, but I do. Um, I would have, you know what? I'll post a picture. of what I do that people appreciate is I do a bottle of wine if I do that, or maybe like a gift basket, and I'll decorate it in a way that's just like, nice, or I do like a thank you card and I
Hmm.
handwrite it. That goes a long way to be like, you know what, that's really extra thoughtful. They didn't have to go through all that. I mean, you don't have to do a bottle of wine. I've gotten away with it. Sometimes I'll do like a $5 gift card to Starbucks. If I do that, it's not very often, but just a little gift or like a little gift bag with like little candy in it. That bag of candy goes a long way for a lot of guests. So just doing something like that really, and it's like I said, it's all about the 5-star review. So that's what I've realized that has helped me get the 5-star reviews is going the extra mile, maybe doing a handwritten card. That's what I've done.
I love all this because 6 months ago, one of the biggest problems you had talked to me about over the phone was I want to learn how to get to the top and stay on top. Do you feel
Yes.
like you've really learned that over the last 6 months?
Oh my gosh, yes. You know what? And it's funny because the very first guest that I had hotboxed my house, like smoked so much in my house. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening right now? So I was always on edge and I was like, okay, can't make a mistake. Then I've had someone try to scam me out of money and then that's when I relied heavily on Sean. I was like, Sean, this is what's happening. I'm literally about to go to jail right now because I need you to help me figure out what I need to say and what I need to do. And he definitely has helped me. I mean, it's been, just in retrospect, it's just crazy to even think about. I mean, how scared I was, like, how scared I was, and to where I am. And I feel like I feel like I'm on top and I know I'm on top and I'm trying to stay there. So it's just so nice. It's a really rewarding feeling, honestly, because I never thought I could be here 6 months later and even share my story because I didn't think I was going to have a story. So it's just really nice. It's rewarding.
Well, it's amazing. And I really thank you for sharing your story. I want to ask you about this as well because you're in Deep Ellum, which is probably one of the most, touristy, at least the best spot to go to in Dallas. What types of clientele are you getting? Are they mostly short term? Or are you now moving more into the midterms with this new guest? How would you describe your customer base?
Customer base it would be more short term. Lately, I've gotten I don't know where this is. I mean, I have to say it has to be because the discounts I'm offering on the weekly stays. So it's gotten more towards weekly. I can't say that it's directly monthly right now because I've only this is my first guest that I've gotten monthly. But it is mostly weekends because it's always kind of been harder to get people during the week. But now I guess I don't know what's happening. So maybe it is moving towards the weekly stay route, and I hope so because I need it.
One of your goals when we talked back in July was you want to get 2 to 3 units by the end of the first year, start building your own revenue stream. So, you could 100% control your future here. How far away are we from unit number two?
Oh my goodness, that's what I'm gonna have to get with Sean about that too on the next call. I would say I would say I could get my next unit in the summer. It's the only thing I'm deciding is you know do I want to, because I'm still at my mom's house. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to get a second unit, I was going to get a personal loan to pay off some of the debt that I have and then just save the money out of my own pocket and then put into another unit for the summer and then move out of my mom's house at the end of the year. So I think I'm leaning more towards that. But here we go again with the apprehensiveness. For anybody who's listening, I mean, I'm still scared about getting my second unit, even though this one is successful. There is a little bit more risk in this one because I don't know. For some reason, I'm like, okay, I don't know how this one's going to work out. So I'm just like, I'm still I still struggle with that mentally. Like, what do I need to do? So it's potentially closer to me getting my second unit. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see.
Get back in those coaching calls.
I I know. That's what I plan on doing. I've just been so busy with other things, but I know I need to talk to Sean about it sooner rather than later, because it really is time sensitive. But if I do it in the summer, you were the first one to know. So we'll see. We'll see.
Wonderful. Well, make sure it's not just Sean, right? Sean's amazing, but you also have Josh Fletch, who you've seen, and we also have Monish. If you haven't been in Monish's coaching calls, he's there on Wednesday as well. Him and
Wednesday.
his
Okay.
wonderful wife, they have an amazing portfolio in California, and they're now on the next phase, which is moving to the Midwest to expand their portfolio. So if you want to
Wow.
learn about fear, they're there. They're on their next journey. Josh Fletch, I think he just signed like a 26 unit or a 30 unit deal. So he's on the next stage of fear as well. So I
Cool.
think what's amazing about this call is, you know what, fear comes at all levels. As the game goes up, it's never going to leave you, and it's just a matter of, hey, it's just the next part of the game. And it's the new tools I'm going to get when I conquer this fear. So I want to applaud you.
Okay.
You're doing absolutely amazing. Thank you for being such an amazing ambassador, an example for all the newer people who are getting started about fear, and that, hey, it's regular. Where can our students follow you?
Yes. So I mostly do fitness. This is more of like a side gig, but it's on Instagram. It is mo dot is like is dot fit. That's my Instagram. And then I have my TikTok and everything, but it's all fitness. But you can follow me on my Instagram there. And then my Facebook is Mo Marie, and that's just Mo and then Marie.
That's amazing. So for those of you, if you want to follow along her journey, if you have any questions, maybe you're a beginner and you want to pick her brain, you know where to find her. Monique, I want to thank you so much for joining us this week. For all those who are joining us on the show, thank you for tuning in. Again, my name is Donnie. I'm a 5-year super host, and I'm a part of Sean's digital team here. If you guys want to follow me, my name's at Taking Lunch Money. And of course, every single week, we dive behind the stories, we peel back the curtains, and we take a look what exactly is going on with hosts. What are they doing to scale? What are they doing to build? And how do we do this? How do we build a business where we can win back our time, stop trading time for money, and really win back our freedom? Thanks for joining us, Monique. And for everybody else, we'll see you next week. Bye bye.